these little machines. You need little machines like this that require 500 protein subunits, and you need all of these little enzymes like this. And to make all of those proteins requires information. The cells need information to instruct it how to make all of these little machines. And you may already know this information comes in the form of what's called DNA. It's found here in the nucleus and typically visualized by this double helix. James Watson and Francis Crick were the two researchers that discovered what DNA actually looked like and were awarded the Nobel Prize in 1962. Okay, so for the youngsters that may seem a long time ago, but I was born in 1963, so that's still, you know, relatively recent that we've discovered some of these things that are just, you know, so important. But I want to characterize the information processing system for you a little bit more. DNA actually exists as long strands called chromosomes that are found in the nucleus. The chromosome looks like this when the cell is in the process of dividing. Otherwise, the chromosomes are long strands. Humans have 46 chromosomes that range in size from 1.7 to 8.5 centimeters in length in each cell. You have 46 chromosomes in the nucleus of each one of your cells that ranges in size from 1.7 to 8.5 centimeters in length. In total, you have about 2 meters or 6 feet worth of DNA in each one of your cells. It's an extraordinary amount of information. And different organisms have different numbers of chromosomes. Okay? The onion there has 16 chromosomes. Mosquito has 6. Tomato has 4. That's chicken over there has 78. Don't remember, the mouse has 40, and what has 46? Okay, humans have 46 chromosomes. See, it's not how many chromosomes you have, it's the genes that you have, it's what those chromosomes contain that's important. No one would really argue that the chicken is more advanced than humans. Oh, some might. You may say chickens. Chicken's pretty cool stuff. But let me give you an idea of just how much information is there. Now, no one really argues with this, so just so you know, this is pretty well established stuff. The human DNA, the amount of DNA in one human cell is approximately equal to 1,000 books. Okay, in the nucleus of one of your cells. So this thick 6 feet long strand of DNA contains about as much information as in 1,000 books. And the nucleus itself is about 5 microns in diameter. There's 1,000 microns in a millimeter, and it's 5 microns in diameter. It's a level of data compression that we are nowhere near. I mean, we've made a lot of advances, but let me give you to you in other words. So a 2 millimeter pile of DNA is about equal to a stack of books reaching to the moon 500 times, or a stack of books reaching to the sun, or about a 16-kilometer stack of CDs. Just to give you an idea just how much information is present within each and every cell. It's an extraordinary amount of information. Okay, now let me break it down for you a little bit more. This information actually exists in little sections on a chromosome called genes. Okay, are we tracking with the terminology here? You've all heard of DNA, you've all heard of genes and stuff. Okay, let's get into gene expression, transcription, translation. No, I won't take you too much deeper into this, but I just want to break this down a little bit more for you. This gene basically is a genetic code that instructs the cell how to make proteins. So genes, that's information. It's an instruction that tells the cell how to make proteins. And proteins do everything and are most things as well. They are the machinery, and in a lot of cases that they're building blocks and materials that make life happen. Your hair is made of pure protein. And there's a protein machinery that's making your hair. Your fingernails are made of pure protein. And there's a protein machinery that's making your fingernails. Okay, so they are the machinery that perform all chemical reactions, the vast majority of chemical reactions, and in a lot of cases they are the building blocks for these molecules as well. So they're extremely, extremely important. Bill Gates even says the gene is by far the most sophisticated program around. So we know it's a program, and it's coded information. And this is how it works. The DNA molecule itself is basically a sequence of molecules. It's a strand that contains different molecules as like links on a chain. Okay, but there are 4 different molecules used. that are represented by different letters. Typically A, T, C, and G, and the RNA molecule visualized here. There's actually a uracil used in place of thymine, but suffice to say there's these molecules that are like letters in a language. It's the same thing. And what the cell does is it basically reads this code, and this code tells it how to make a protein. Much like DNA is a chain of molecules, a protein is a chain of molecules also. Molecules called amino acids. So what the cell does is it reads this little code, little mini code called a codon, and it translates that into an amino acid. So this code is translated into the amino acid cysteine. This code is translated to the amino acid lutein, serine. There are 20 different amino acids used in proteins, 4 different nucleotides used in DNA. Are we tracking? Are you about to pop too much biochemistry, man? Come on, man, move on. Do something else. Okay. Well, this is DNA, by all classical definitions, is itself information. Based on the classic definitions of the word information, that's what DNA is. And it may very well be one of our best arguments for intelligent design. A lot of researchers have made this argument called the information argument. Werner Gitt published a book called In the Beginning Was Information, but I would recommend a book by A.E. Wilder Smith called The Scientific Alternative to Neo-Darwinian Evolutionary Theory. If you want, it's a long title, but it's an excellent book. If you want to read a book about information theory, how information illustrates an intelligent designer, read A.E. Wilder's book, and you can read the entire thing online. If you go into our website, Northwest Creation Network, search for the free online books, and you can read it in its entirety. Scientific Alternative to Neo-Darwinian Evolutionary Theory. I don't see you writing this down. Let's see. Okay, but what scientists are proposing, what evolution proposed, is that this information has accumulated by just randomly changing pre-existing information, right? That a bacteria that contained only 1 chromosome eventually developed into a chicken with 78 chromosomes by just randomly changing the information. As if, I could just randomly come in here and change some of these letters and it improve upon that information. It improve a bacteria into something like this. I mean, it's just inconceivable that a bacteria could be improved into something as amazing as the human. No one laughed at my Adonis stance there. That's pretty sad. Or if I change this code even more and then but that's what they're proposing. That random changes, random aggregations of molecules, random changes in information in the genetic code could ultimately lead from some organic compound ultimately up into what we have today. It's as if, a similar analogy as if you could just randomly change your regular TV into an HD TV. That's what they're proposing. It's an affront to logic. It's an affront to reason, affront to common sense that you could do that. Information is created by an intelligent designer, by an intelligence. Information is a message that's transmitted from one intelligent agent to another intelligent agent, transmits an instruction, a message, and that's what DNA is. So, A.E. Wilder Smith's book, go on and take a look at that. Let's look at some more cell movement. One of the other ways cells move is through these little hair-like structures called cilia or flagellum. There are 2 different types, but also if you look closely here, you can see some of these things eating. Now, cells use cilia for more than one. You see it eat that right there? If you watch closely, it's got its mouth right there, and they suck things in. If you watch closely, see it eat that? Yeah. So they can direct streams of water. So they're directing some of this into their mouth and swallowing things. Cells use cilia for one of 2 things, either to move themselves through aqueous solutions or fluids, or to move the fluids that surround themselves. Okay? Use these for more than one. Take a look at this monster. This is a ciliate that's inside the stomach of a termite. Look at that, huh? The stomach of the termite just contains a wide flora of weird organisms, but just crazy looking thing here, right? We also have cilia as part of our body.